Sinn Féin has lost Fermanagh and South Tyrone to the Ulster Unionists, in one of the biggest upsets of the general election in Northern Ireland. All 18 seats have now been declared with 8 DUP, 4 Sinn Féin, 3 SDLP, 2 Ulster Unionists and 1 independent elected. The Democratic Unionist Party regained the East Belfast seat lost 5 years ago by its party leader. The Ulster Unionists have 2 MPs, after taking South Antrim from the DUP. In the last parliament, the UUP had no representation. The party's new MP in Fermanagh and South Tyrone, Tom Elliott, said he was delighted to have taken the seat from Sinn Féin's Michelle Gildernew. His constituency was one of 4 where there was a pact between the UUP and DUP, the 2 main unionist parties in Northern Ireland. Mr. Elliott had a majority of 530 votes. After his party's victory, Ulster Unionist leader Mike Nesbitt said, "After the local government election last year I took my blank page for this campaign and what I wanted at number 1 was to win back for unionism, off Sinn Féin, the most westerly constituency in the United Kingdom, because that sends out a massive positive message to unionism." DUP leader Peter Robinson said, "I trust that our 2 parties, the Ulster Unionist Party and the Democratic Unionist Party, can work in the interests of the Union at Westminster, because the Union is going to be under pressure from Scottish nationalists. Of course we will act responsibly. As a Unionist I obviously want to see the interests of the United Kingdom moving forward, and of course as someone from Northern Ireland I want to see it happening in the best interests of the people of Northern Ireland." Unionist pact. He said, "This is not a Green constituency. It doesn't belong to Bobby Sands. It belongs to the people of Fermanagh and South Tyrone, and that is who I intend to represent." Ms. Gildernew thanked those who voted for her party. "I believe that vote represents people of all faiths and none, and I am proud and humbled to have been chosen by those people in Fermanagh South Tyrone," she said. DUP regain the East. In East Belfast, the DUP's Gavin Robinson ousted Naomi Long of Alliance. The constituency was part of the Unionist Pact. Mr. Robinson, who polled 19,575, said, "I'm delighted that the last 5 long years are over." Ms. Long, who got 16,978 votes, described her term as MP as a roller coaster. Her colleague, Stephen Ferry, said, "Obviously we're very disappointed for Naomi personally, and obviously we would have liked to win the East Belfast seat, but overall the results are actually very good for Alliance. We've actually had our biggest ever share of the vote in Northern Ireland in any election since 1992, almost 25 years. In virtually every constituency, indeed I think in every constituency across Northern Ireland, our share of the vote went up. First UUP seat in 5 years. In South Antrim, Ulster Unionist Danny Kinahan, who is a cousin of the Irish singer Chris de Burgh, ousted Willie McCree of the DUP. Mr. Kinahan put his victory down to hard work and the people of South Antrim putting their faith in me. I think they wanted somebody who was from the patch, who was here all the time, and they wanted change," he said. "I think there was a mood here in South Antrim to have someone different and a different approach to how politics is done. It was the first shock result of the night in Northern Ireland." The defeated candidate, Mr. McCree, was first elected as an MP in 1983. The first result of the night was Lagan Valley, with Jeffrey Donaldson holding his seat for the DUP with 19,055 votes. Mark Durcan, SDLP, was returned in Foyle with 17,725 votes, and Pat Doherty, Sinn Féin, was returned in West Tyrone with 16,806 votes. Ian Paisley, DUP, retained his North Antrim seat with 18,107 votes. Jim Shannon, DUP, was returned in Strangford with 15,053 votes, while Lady Sylvia Herman, Independent, retained her seat in North Down. David Simpson, DUP, has held his seat in Upper Bann, with 15,430 votes. It was a constituency targeted by the Ulster Unionists' Joanne Dobson, who polled 13,166. Sammy Wilson of the DUP was re-elected in East Antrim. Paul Maskey was re-elected for Sinn Féin in West Belfast. Nigel Dodds held the North Belfast seat for the DUP with 19,096 votes, the fourth time he was re-elected. He said it was the biggest ever vote for the Democratic Unionist Party in North Belfast. However, he described the election campaign in North Belfast as one of the nastiest in which he had been involved. The UUP also stood aside in this constituency as part of its electoral pact with the DUP. The DUP's Simon Hamilton said the pact had been a success. "I think the big message coming out of this election is that it's a great result for unionism," he said. "The pact has been successful in that it has increased unionist representation in the House of Commons by 2 seats. In South Belfast, Alasdair MacDonnell, SDLP, retained his seat with 9,560 votes. Francie Malloy held his seat for Sinn Féin in Mid-Ulster polling 19,935. The Electoral Reform Society said South Belfast had broken the record for the lowest ever vote share for a winning party, with the SDLP securing 24.5% of the vote. In East Londonderry, the DUP's Gregory Campbell was re-elected with 14,663 votes. The SDLP's Margaret Ritchie regained her seat in South Down with 18,077 votes. She said it was a myth that her party needed lone unionist votes. She also said the result proved there was a solid SDLP majority in the constituency. Sinn Féin's Pat Doherty retained his seat in West Tyrone. The last result of the night was Mickey Brady, who won Newry and Armagh for Sinn Féin with 20,488 votes. Overall, the Democratic Unionist Party, DUP, stood in 16 constituencies while the Ulster Unionist Party, UUP, stood in 15. Sinn Féin, the SDLP, and the Alliance Party stood in all 18 constituencies. The Green Party ran 5 candidates and UKIP ran in 10 seats. 7 Traditional Unionist Voice, TUV, candidates were selected. The Conservative Party ran in 16 seats. The Workers' Party fielded candidates in 5 constituencies. People Before Profit fielded a candidate in West Belfast and Sista contested 4 constituencies. There were 5 independent candidates.